Hey peeps, Spencer Smoot here, unsolicited QA. I am doing a game designer reacts video to the Art of Refinement, Fall to 2020. I'm excited for this. I've been waiting for this. It looks like I don't know anything about it. I haven't really read anything about what the gameplay is going to look like, so I'm very interested in seeing what they're going to do. I think the mechanic for mining is really good. It's a pretty cool gameplay loop of finding, and it actually takes some skill to really do it well. And I'm hoping that this the refinement is partly, it's an extension of that. So let's see.
All about tying the mining system to all of the other systems that we really want to sort of focus on in the future. Things like cargo and crafting and anything that would basically allow the player to create things within the universe. So you would typically go out in your mining vehicle, your prospector, your mole, and you would try and find asteroids with preferably valuable materials. So the general idea that we want to put across to players is that you can go out and mine anything you want, but you might also want to be paying a bit more attention to the materials that you're actually bringing back. The refined versions of these materials, which would be more valuable and sell for more than the basic raw materials that you were getting from the asteroid in the first place. When you create your job, you will toggle the refine or discard on each individual material in the cargo hold. And what this will allow you to then do is select the
Oh, this looks cool. This looks really cool. I love their UI design. Um, Looks so cool. All right, let me go back a little bit.
on each individual material in the cargo hold. And what this will allow you to then do is select the processing type that you would typically want to choose, and you can click the get quote button. And what this will do is it pulls our backend systems and the refinery system itself to determine the current cost and price and duration of that job in the universe at that exact time. The numbers that you're seeing here as well, the cost of the jobs, the yield that you're getting out, the value of what these materials will end up being ultimately when the patch is released, are subject to change. They're currently going through several balancing passes and are not final, so please no one freak out. Everything you see in ISC is work in progress. Jared made me say this. Binaries also function under a capacity system. There's no limit to the number of jobs they can actually run at any one time, but obviously the higher that you go, the higher that number of the percentage of refinery capacity is, the more the job is going to cost, and it's down then to the player to determine, is this job worth me doing here, or am I basically going to lose money by running a job here when I could take it somewhere else. Refineries additionally also have...
Yeah, this is pretty similar to the the building in Eve, right? Like there's on each planet there's construction yards and things like that, or some planets, and then there's like a queue, right? And they have they have a maximum capacity, and then you have to wait for X number of days or X number of hours for your stuff to actually start building, and then it takes time for that stuff to build. It looks very similar to that, but this more so though that this is more money wise and not time wise, right? Because Eve's currency is time. Well, in the way of which player interaction, right? It's time. You learn skills with time. You the longer that you play, the higher skills you have, and all that stuff. In Star Citizen, it's money, right? And it's just an interesting thing to see, like, because let's say Port Olisar, right? Like, everybody goes there to drop off their materials right now because that's one of the best places to do it. It's quick in and quick out, but it's going to be packed and it's going to cost more. So then it's weighing those factors of cost, cost benefit, right? So, and then this comes into play with like your own personal refining, either structure like in your own homestead area, or like the ship. I know the Orion is supposed to be a refining ship, from my understanding. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. and that makes it so it's more valuable because then it's cheaper, right? It's cheaper or no cost, right, to refine your materials, so then therefore the profit margin's higher. So it's super interesting. It's super interesting how they're doing it, and I like it.
Proficiencies. You could perhaps find a... Refineries additionally also have proficiencies. You could perhaps find a refinery that is extremely good at processing Quantanium, and therefore they will offer you more in the way of yield when you commit the job to them. Typically, this is to encourage players to shop around for the best bargains. Jobs can be anywhere.
So that's a big thing in a small statement, right? Because what that does is it requires even every time that that how do I explain it? Every time like you go and shop around and you find the spots and you say, okay, I want to go here and then drop this stuff off here and then go somewhere else. That's an ability in to be able to be pirated, right? So then therefore that creates more gameplay. And through those things, this is where a lot of the gameplay comes from, of just like they're not shoving, like Star Citizen doesn't really shove people together like in some games. It's more of like, well, this is a byproduct of the interaction of the systems of like, well, a pirate could come up and take out a caterpillar maybe, I don't know if it's caterpillar that'll be doing this stuff, transporting, and or and taking over a caterpillar or taking out a caterpillar, and then taking that stuff and taking it to their own place. But then then there's protection that's needed, right? Then you have protection, and then so it just grows from there, and that's what's cool about it, right? That's where the inherent gameplay kind of comes out of, is because like they're not actually just shoving people together. It's like, okay, well, if you want a really good, like if we go back here for a second and we look at the refinement thing, right? Like if you want really good Quantanium, right, processing, then like you'll go to this place, but like the pirates will know that, so then they're that value, and it's going to be harder. So then you have to hire somebody, and then it's just kind of that gameplay that's actually created. So it's super interesting.
Job to them. Typically, this is to encourage players to shop around for the best bargains. Jobs can be anywhere from a few minutes to several hours, depending on the size of the job, the processing type you chose, and the general amount of work and capacity that the refinery is currently at. So jobs can be either created and left until their duration expires, but if you're out and about when a job finishes, you'll receive a notification on your visor that states that the job that you completed at the refinery in question has finished. Or you can cancel early and receiving the already processed materials at the cost of discarding the rest. This is to give players the option of claiming a job when maybe all of the Quantanium in the job has been already finished, or allow them to just cancel a job early because they feel like they're going to get enough from it. So ultimately what we wanted to do is we wanted to provide the players with more choice. It's important that we allow players to make bad decisions, but it's also important that we give them all the information that they need to make the good decisions.
Yeah, well, one of the biggest things about the game design is to protecting players from themselves, but also giving them enough rope to hang themselves, right? So you want to make sure that they're in a certain, it's called the magic circle, right? They're in this world and everything makes sense in this world, in this magic circle, but like, you don't want to just hold their hand the entire time, right? Well, I mean, certain games, yes, but in this game, particularly Star Citizen, they're trying to make it as open, as free as possible. So making bad decisions is part of that, right? Making bad decisions in life is part of being in life. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Whether this is the miner that could decide to just sell his raw materials and cut his losses, or go to the refinery and run it through their system and then come out with ultimately more resources that would be worth a lot more in the way of currency. And we feel these are interesting gameplay scenarios that would benefit the players.
When refining comes online in the upcoming Alpha 3.12, it will be the next step in not only the further development of the mining profession, but also tying it in with the continuing evolution of cargo hauling, the nascent maturity of piracy, and the future addition of crafting. But up next, let's look now at how weapon zeroing is being used to provide better agency to snipers across the galaxy.
Okay, so that's the end of this one. I'm going to split this in two parts because that's kind of what I've been doing for a while. I this is looks cool. Like I'm very interested in it, and it gives they're doing I think they're doing a really good job with creating the economic system from the ground up, right? Like they're not putting in crafting until there's a full kind of gameplay loop for getting the resources, right? Because then everything just kind of stacks on each other, and I think it's really cool. I think it's super cool that it's a they're just taking their time. I mean, it sucks that obviously it sucks. Like we want it now, but it's super cool that they can take their time and really create meaningful gameplay, not just random here you go, and the cargo hauling and refining and everything's kind of building up from that, right? And then it's great. So I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. If you can like and subscribe, that'd be great. She likes it, I guess. And so thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.